It's Friday at the Labor Network. I'm Mark Harrison, and WTF is next. In New York, 41 transit workers have died from the coronavirus and more than 6,000 have been sickened. In California, at nursing homes, workers are afraid to go to work because they lack the proper protection to keep themselves safer. And at one home, after 35 out of 80 of the home's residents have fallen ill, they have just refused to go to work. A grocery worker in Maryland has died, as have 2 Walmart workers in Chicago. Amazon fired a worker who led a strike for safer working conditions. And a doctor has been fired in Washington state because he spoke out about the lack of protective gear available to frontline workers at the hospital where he worked. 2 flight attendants, one for JetBlue and one for American Airlines, have died. And a naval captain, whose crew considers him to be a hero for placing their interests first, was relieved of duty for making public cries for help for his men. We stand at a crossroads in America. For 50 years, the rights of average working people have been in decline. Wages have been stagnant, and the right to speak out about safety concerns have been dismissed by major corporations and small businesses alike. Not all of them, to be sure. There are some solid companies whose leaders have a conscience and hold the belief that worker respect should find its place alongside profits. Still exist, but they are in the great minority. We have seen heroes emerge in the crisis, not the least of which are our medical professionals who find themselves on the front lines of this crisis. Those speaking out are heroes. Those taking the lead as worker advocates and leading their fellow employees out in protest of better safety conditions are heroes. Right now in California, hundreds of cooks and cashiers at 50 fast food restaurants across the state are on strike, demanding that McDonald's and other fast food chains provide masks, gloves, soap, $3 an hour hazard pay, and 2 weeks of paid sick leave to workers exposed to COVID-19. Why should they have to ask? Why? For 50 years, we have been convinced that our enemies walk among us. For 50 years, we have been convinced that the color of our skin and the lands of our origins and the deities that we worship divide us. But right now, we are all dying without regard to those things. For the last 50 years, those that sit above us in palatial offices have worked in Washington using their money to work against us, all the while convincing us that the reasons for our discontent sit to our right and to our left. But now, we are all suffering the same. But more importantly, we are all finding out that we have common needs. And maybe, just maybe, when we get on the other side of this, we will take the lessons we have learned to use them to our advantage by working together with each other. We are the majority. And just like on the playground when we were kids, the majority rules. Be safe out there. I'm Mark Harrison for Labor This Week. I'll see you next week.